All right, folks. So today is Sunday, April 6th, at the time of this recording. And, yeah, as you know, basically, those who don't know, basically, I don't follow a schedule. I kind of just do things on the fly and whatnot. And there were some things I actually wanted to talk about, but, like, just basically, just trying to figure out how to format that particular video. And basically, plus, I was feeling a bit off. I know that's a bullshit excuse, but I've been really feeling off, and that's but in any case, hopefully, I can try to be a little more proactive in my posting. But like I said, I kind of post like whatever comes to my mind and whatnot, so it doesn't seem forced. But in any case, I want to this video, as you can tell by the title, "Entertainment is a New Luxury." Um, it will be piggybacking off of my one of my previous videos about New York City's nightlife being dead, quite possibly nightlife in general. As per the title, entertainment is your luxury. This is pertaining to Nintendo's recent press release of the Switch 2's arrival. All right. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about tariffs here, and those who know me, basically, I'm not a fan of politicians. Basically, left or right, it's all the same. And part of me does a sneeze come. Oh, damn it. Of course, while I'm recording and lovely seasonal allergies. In any case, hopefully that would be it for this recording in terms of the amount of sneezes I'll be doing. Um, Hopefully no one was listening to this on headphones because that was quite loud, I imagine. In any case, excuse me regarding that sneeze, and let me continue. So basically, so yeah, I'm apolitical. All right, I think it's all a crock. And there's no saying called separate the artist from their works. Like if you don't like, they say that basically if you don't like the artist but you like their works, it's perfectly fine. You can just separate the two. This is one of those instances where basically I'm separating Trump from what tariffs are really meant to do. And again, I'm not, and just for the record, I'm not an economist. My knowledge of tariffs is extremely surface level, much like the economy itself. So, much like anything I say in any of my videos, I highly urge you to do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. Now, uh, basically, we've been in an economic shithole pretty much since the 2000s. I mean, like, it's been like a nonstop knockdown. We got the dot-com bubble from 1999 to 2000s, 9/11, which exasperated it, especially for New York. Then we got the 2008 housing crisis. Then we have the scamdemic from 4 years ago, from 2020. And now we are currently in a recession. I don't care what these economists says. We are in a recession. We are not heading towards a recession. And the realist side of me is thinking the worst case scenario, even though I'm trying not to put it out, but could a depression be looming or looming by? And unfortunately, I have a bad feeling. I really hope not, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I hope not. All right. So in any case, recession is basically when, generally speaking, is when the jobless rates are high and the price of the standard of living. We're not talking about an extravagancy, right? We're just talking about putting a roof over your head, food on the table, the bare essentials. And when I'm talking about food on the table, I'm talking about basic food, not like filet mignon, lobster tails here, or and caviar, or washing it down with a bottle of Don. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like regular fucking food. All right. So um because unfortunately our this economy is based on buying as much useless shit as possible to keep things going, which is like ridiculous. No economic system. I'm not promoting the latter, which is basically communism. Trust me, that's not gonna work. But there's really no economic system that works like really properly, maybe except for bartering. But in any case, veering off track here. But basically, those who know me, basically, those who know me, I grew up in the era of video games. I absolutely fucking love video games. All right, because why am I bringing this up? This pertains to the Nintendo Switch 2. So, look, I grew up poor, right? I never got the Nintendo. I got the Game Boy. I got the then I got a Super Nintendo. When I got both of those, I didn't have the money to buy a lot of games, so the game selections were extremely limited for me. I mean, like at the time of the Super Nintendo's release, I mean, games are like $70 a cartridge, $70 back in the like early '90s. That is ridiculous, right? So there's no way I would be able to hold a library of games and whatnot. So in any case, down the line, I decided to. I wasn't gonna plan to get a PlayStation, but I did get it. I got it like secondhand and used. Well, secondhand is used. What am I saying? In any case, so yeah, I got a secondhand, and honestly, with no regrets, because I think that was the best game, best system that I got, in my opinion. Just from the games like Metal Gear Solid and Xenogears. If you don't know, I mean, I'll probably be talking about Xenogears or Xenogears down the line. Holy shit, that game opened my mind to a lot of crazy stuff, man. That kind of shapes me to who I am today. In any case, yeah. So then after that was my untimely move to New Jersey. For better or worse, at the time, definitely the worst. I was severely depressed. That was horrible. Come on, we're talking about moving from New York to New Jersey, for God's sakes. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. There was a lot of things going on too. But you know, down the line, I wasn't planning to get any other video game system. Now, basically, if I was willingly wanted to spend money, I would have continued down the Sony PlayStation path. I skipped out on the PlayStation 2 because again, finances. I was more concerned with pulling my money to getting my ass back into New York. it, that a lot of good that did because I'm still in New Jersey. Again, for better for worse. I think for right now, in terms of the economy, I think for the better, because as pricey as New Jersey is, it's still slightly more manageable than New York. All right, New Jersey is definitely not without its issues. Definitely not without its issues. But in terms of finances, again, it's more is a lot is a little more manageable than New York. All right, but as I digress again, so the next system I got was actually the Xbox 360. I get that because of the Kinect, and for two things. One of them was like the UFC trainers, some bullshit like that. I forgot what's it called, and something else I forgot. So I mainly got it for the Kinect system. And now I bought it during the Black Friday of 2012, and because it was so dirt cheap at that time, because it was the end of his lifespan, and the Xbox One was arriving, I believe, the following year in 2013. So I was like, let me go get it. I might as well put it to good use and get some exercise in. Um, Funnily enough, the Connect could not work. You require a lot of space for the Connect, so that was money well spent there. So I decided to get a bunch of games since again the Xbox 360 was on the end of his lifespan. I got uh, Grand Theft Auto 4, which I love immensely because they took pictures of areas of Queens that I grew up in. So basically, uh, that was like the last picture of Queens that I remember when I used to remember it before everything changed from the scamdemic. So yeah, it was worth its value in that, I guess. So, and that was pretty much my last system. Now, I was interested in getting the Nintendo Switch. Held off on it because I heard a lot of issues with the Joy Cons having drift issues, and which Nintendo never really, fixed. So, uh, and I'm not throwing down $300 for a system. Again, I'm putting my money into, you know, um, either getting educating myself on things, getting prioritizing my time for education, and just what should we call it? Trying to figure out how to make money, and also trying to trying to move out of this town now. I think most likely I'm gonna stay in New Jersey. Just I want to get the hell out of this town, which is basically like a built-in prison. I might bitch and moan in one of my videos about how much I hate this town. I don't know, but in any case, um, it's a commuting nightmare. But in any case, so that aside, now I've been sort of paying attention to Switch 2 because like I may get the Switch One. Again, just like Xbox 360 when the price drops because the because the Switch 2 is coming out. But like so now they released news of the Switch 2 recently, right after when Trump announced the tariffs. I don't think that's a coincidence. I do not think that's a coincidence. So now, going back to my previous video about how New York City and possibly the nightlife all in general basically is like dead. Last time I went there to a club, cost of a drink was $15, right? So basically that can easily add up. So let's just say you have two drinks on average. You pay admission fee. That's an easy $50 down the toilet for one night, right? It's not cheap. Night entertainment has become now the new luxury because basically with the recession, right? Ever since the scandemic, people have lost their jobs. There's a lot of people who still haven't gotten back their jobs, right? Basically, price of just surviving is a fucking nightmare now. I mean, just putting the essentials, the bare essentials, roof over your head, food on the table. And I'm not talking about lobster tails and filet mignon, washing it down with a bottle of Dawn. All right, we're just talking about needs, basic needs. And if people cannot live beyond their means, they are going to get destroyed in this economy right now, right? So now Nintendo's releasing the Switch 2. All right, so that's gonna be probably like $400 or $500 upon release. In my estimate, right? uh, so they were talking about. I heard about the price of the games, which is outlandish. They said that the price of the digital games, all right, most likely the Nintendo branded games, right? Those will at least be $80 for digital. Physical copies will be $90. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System, when it first came out, was $100 to $120. A game will be the price about the same price as the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. That is outlandish. What the hell is Nintendo thinking of? And now I just got wind that Nintendo is delaying the Switch 2 pre-orders because of the tariffs. So you can imagine how much more the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be on the time of release. I mean, basically, again, this is not a hit on the tariffs because the tariffs were initially in place back in the days prior to the 1900s. Basically, they were there to prevent us from having taxes. They were there to basically that's what helped pave streets and whatnot. All right, but things change. I mean, look, we're still paying taxes for God's sakes. All right. And basically, which is voluntary. Look that up. All right. Taxes are voluntary. Look that up. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes right now because basically they'll play some games. It's convoluted. All right. The economy is extremely convoluted. They made it convoluted that way on purpose so we'd be confused. So now, but going back, but yeah, the tariffs are there for a good reason. But we weren't paying taxes. We're still paying taxes. So, but like the economy has been so convoluted, where two little things goes off, it will set a chain reaction. I think that's what's going on with the economy right now. And basically, so now that's I'm not a fan of number 47. Like I said, 47, I lump them with all the other politicians. They're all just, whatever, right? They're all just playing. They're playing by a handbook. That's all I'm saying. And basically, it's all made to fail. And I think they want to give tariffs a bad name, put it in a bad light. And basically, so now the Switch 2 pre-orders being delayed because of the tariffs now. That's gonna make the younger generations, look at tariffs in a bad light now. So, I think that's all done on purpose. But regardless, I mean, honestly speaking, like everybody really needs to prioritize their finances into again keeping a roof over your head, putting food on the table. The practicalities of things. Entertainment has definitely become a new luxury. I mean, like, my suggestion is basically those who have like a Netflix account, Disney Plus account, Hulu account. It's probably not even worth that. You know, it's really gotten really bad out there. And I mean, so you think about it, like, if you want to get yourself a Nintendo Switch, have fun. Like I said, I think the system itself would probably be in the 500s easy. But now with the games in the 80 and $90 range, I mean that is just outlandish. You know, $90 a game. What do you compare that to $90 of putting food on a table? You know, you really got to think about it, man. But I think the age of finding entertainment on a foreign source is it's going the way of the dinosaur, man. I mean, basically, entertainment, yeah, unless you got money like that, it ain't easy. And I feel sorry for the parents who have kids and they could be like whining about like getting the Nintendo Switch and their parents are trying to put food on the table, man. I mean, like, I hope those kids will understand because it's not easy right now. It is not fucking easy in this world right now. In any case, this video has gone on way too long because of my part more of my inane rambling in between the commentary. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. In any case, those who are going through a tough time, man, good luck, God bless. Hopefully things will work out for you soon. Um, it's tough out there, man. It is really tough. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Good luck, God bless. Take care. As always, keep it real. Later.